Hello, everyone. So I've been very consistent about this over the last few years, even in relation to other countries instead of even Greenland, that every country, regardless of where you are, has the right to self-determination for their own people to choose. And we see now with Greenland and stuff, even though there's only 57,000, 56,000 people there, they still have the right to choose. It's their land, it's up to them, they have the ultimate decision. And it's the same with sovereignty. And I believe that every nation has the right to sovereignty. Now we see with the World Economic Forum and the European Union, they want to erase sovereignty. We even see with our own Taoiseach in Ireland that they want a backwards looking idea of sovereignty. But I do think it's important. And of course, as I say, and you often heard me say that Ireland does belong to the Irish. First of all, it's the same as Denmark belongs to the Danish, and Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people. They're the people who own it. Like, they have authority. They're the ultimate authority, the only authority of their own country, of their own land. And that might be racist of all right, but that's the way I see it. It's the same with every country in the world. They have the right to their own country, their own land, their own people. They decide themselves what they want for their future. And I don't think it, and I say this for any country, even Russia or the United States, Ukraine has the right to exist, and Russia has no right to go in and conquer any territory. The same with China and Taiwan. And it's the same with the United States and Greenland. They have the right to sovereignty, the United States, and of course, Greenland has the right to sovereignty. And no country has the right to tell another country what to do, etc. But the United States threats of tariffs because a lot of the Nordic countries and the United Kingdom and France and Germany is completely unacceptable, particularly for allies and stuff, because the West, particularly the West, Europe and the United States should work very closely together, because the only people who's benefiting by this is China and Russia, but infighting in the West. Because we need to be united, of course, for democracy, for freedom, etc. Because that's the most important thing. That's the whole values of the West. Is that people have the right to choose. People have the right to their freedom, the freedom of speech, etc. We see consistently across the West at the moment that's been a waste, unfortunately. But we have to stand up for that. And of course, I will say the European Union all of a sudden is all interested in sovereignty, and they don't believe in Ireland has sovereignty, but they pick and choose when countries can have sovereignty when they can't. But it's my firm belief, and I've said this many, many times, that every country has the right to choose their own future. And it's the same with the people of Greenland. Even though there was only 5 people on the island, they still have the right to choose among themselves what they want, because it doesn't matter to me as an Irish citizen. I'm not in Greenland. I don't have any right. Ireland has never had the right and never will have the right to anybody else's country. It's the same with Greenland. No country has the right to bully them around and tell them what they want. It's up to them, because they're living it, and it's up to them to decide. But it's extremely important that people have the right to self determination. The nations people have the right to choose what they want. But yeah, I don't agree, as I say, with Donald Trump. I've said this very vocally. I know there's so many people too up Donald Trump's hole, excuse my language, but they quite literally are. Some people are literally up Donald Trump's hole. And of course, all this is the distraction, really, in a way, from the Epstein files, because as we know, the Epstein files, they're doing their best to make sure that nobody sees half of them. Like there's still there's hundreds of millions left files to see. There could be 3 or 4 million files left to see, and we only seen barely 1 million files. But yeah, it's insane. But this is all probably much a distraction from the Epstein files, because we all know there's people named in the Epstein files that are very, very high up individuals that are in every part of society. And it probably would be revolution if people seen the names and what they did, etc., on that island, etc. But let me know what you think, because as I said, I've been very consistent. I don't just pick and choose what country has the right to self determination. Unanimously, every country has the right, and the people have the right to their own land. Ireland has had to fight for 800 years for independence, for freedom from the United Kingdom. And of course, as Patrick Pearse says, Ireland belongs to the Irish, and that's simple as. It's the same as any other country. England belongs to the English, and Scotland belongs to the Scottish. The same as Wales belongs to the Welsh. And simple as that. The same as Finland belongs to the Finns. I can go on and on and forth, but so on and so forth. But that's just the simple thing. It's simple as that. That's just a simple statement of fact that them countries have to fight for their place in the world. They're entitled to their country and to their sovereignty and to their freedom to decide themselves what they want. And I think that's the whole ideals of the West. But again, I think it's completely unacceptable that Donald Trump is putting tariffs on European countries for this. It'd be different if it was something to do with trade or something, fair enough then. But particularly for countries standing up for other countries that, I think it's fair to say nearly everybody in Greenland, apart from maybe 3% or so, that want to join the United States. Nobody really wants to join the United States in Greenland. But anyway, let me know what you think, because as I say, I've been very consistent for this. So let me know, thank you, and let me know, thank you.